What is this indeed? This is Power Block. Wait, no, it's not. It's a little help. Watch out. Hello. And welcome. Team Ad. 50 blue, 35 green. My name's Ben. You can call me Angry Crow. I'm on the internet right now on mintpotion. And I just thought I would get live with everybody. Here's the pattern. Trying to figure out how synchronized this is, because it's like, it looks right, but I know it's wrong. Like, this is a tricky situation for anybody who's trying to rap and you have like a weird latency that you're unsure about. Just always go analog as much as possible, so that way it's perceived real time. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, we're going to I don't know, maybe work on something. Anyway, so Ableton. Ableton is my home base for music. I work in it every day. I really dig it. And I probably put that together in like 5 seconds while setting the stream up to have like a cool opening sound. And now that it's like out there, and it's got a terrible name, so I'm gonna start a new file. Make sure all of my presets are set. I was thinking about getting into some Max for Live stuff today. I don't know. Project based around a preset that I choose beforehand. Could make a project based around a specific preset that I choose beforehand. You know, it's weird. A lot of times I don't like patch first. Like, I don't do this type of work necessarily. Just to like, and I figured out my balancing issues. So we shouldn't have any kind of crazy phasing stuff. It's a good idea. I definitely do not disagree, you know, but I want to have a look at what chat wants to do. Like, usually, like, this is kind of the preset that I start with on this computer. I've got a synthesizer and a drum machine, and that track or whatever, that beat from a second ago, was basically this, but like really muddled, right? So like I did a lot of adjustments to this impulse rack, and I did kind of a couple of simple adjustments to analog, because I really like analog. It's pretty good. I don't know. Ableton stock stuff is just pretty, you know, pretty sweet. But then I was also thinking about this guy, right? I've probably talked about it in the past, but I have this, like, if I turn off MIDI, I have over here, where's my magnifier? Let's get that going. So, like, I have this plugin on my master called Selective Arm Mute. And it allows me, if I press, you know, Command K in this case, right, I have capital letters assigned to shortcut keys that I use. And actually, it's messed up because Ableton has a couple of new shortcuts that I'm trying to get an idea about. Because they're using like A lowercase, and I usually map that, like, this is the automation versus clip mode button, so you can kind of like do fades really rapidly and stuff like that, or get into automation really rapidly. And I really want to, like, what I usually do is I have a key map for overdubbing set to A, right? So if I hit that, then I have a little bit of a conflict, right? Like, that can't work for me. So I have to come up with a new, like, I don't know, maybe like lowercase d or something like that would work, right, for dubbing. I don't know. I mean, like, it's just little things like that get me going really, really rapidly. Here, like Shift R, I have Shift C for capture. And, you know, you just kind of build this up as you go, like in, out, loop. So ILO, which is kind of like, you know, things that I borrow from other software as well. G for go back to arrangement. Here is, by default, this is set to A. And so I have Shift A for arm, right? Solo, Shift S, and mute is Shift X instead of M because they're all kind of next to each other. So I have like sax, so much sax. So that's what's up with that. And they have a couple of other new keys like expand everything or whatever, like all this junk. So let me unmute. It's like Shift Z kind of collapses everything. Ugh. You know, where like I think Z shows all, but like it's not gonna expand all. Like it's kind of, in terms of like continuity, it's kind of dumb. But I was thinking of adding even more things. So if I have D for my dub over here, overdub, maybe I'll want to do something like adding a Shift D for toggling devices, because that's something that I tend to do. I also will do stuff like if I'm working with MIDI, I have a keystroke for preview, that kind of thing, and that shows up across the board. I kind of want to keep adding keystrokes and make like a really cool utility plugin, but I had to adjust my plans. This is actually like an extension of a plugin that I got from Keith McMillan. When I was asking them, like, hey, can I do these things with the K-Mix? And they're like, actually, you could do that really rapidly using Max for Live. And the guy, like in support, sent me this script. So I'll show you the script. It does a lot of stuff really, really well. There are certain limitations. For example, before I get too distracted, if I have this armed, right? Oh, hold on. Maybe I can't use it while I'm editing it. Maybe I just crashed Ableton. Maybe everything's going to be fine. Okay. So here, if I want to do that to multiple tracks, it'll only toggle the last track. And that goes for, I believe, any other context. Right. So mute seems to work on groups. Wait a minute. How does that happen? So let's figure out what's going on. Because actually, I think I added the solo and arm functionality myself. Or I added one of these functions myself. Let's open up, welcome to Max. Nope. Selective arm mute. This is a project. So this is the way that this looks inside of Max for Live. And we can kind of like scroll around a bit. I think shift is like left and right. And just regular scroll is regular. Down here you have a little presentation mode slash patching mode. So patch mode, presentation mode. And that will show like, hey, all right, so I have live observers and it gets this number and it sets arm for each of those objects to 1 and prints those objects. So if I look at the Max console, actually, we can get a little bit more information about what's supposed to happen. So I think I have to be out of patching mode in order to see this. And I guess it would help if I had that like up. But where is this guy? You're not showing me anything. Yay! Okay, well then what is the point? I don't know. But if this is something that you don't want to do, then I'm fine with that too. It's just something that I've been kind of like, I don't know, thinking about for a while, trying to figure out like what the heck Max for Live actually can do for me in my workflow, and this is something that is integrated into most versions of Ableton, so it's an easy thing to share. If you would like, let's come up with an idea for a compo, and I can get that started, in 20-ish minutes. What preset to work with beforehand, I'm not sure. But, I need to understand more about these properties, right? Like, is that actually doing that thing? It's getting this object, or it's getting this property from that object. It's doing it in like a really weird way that I don't understand. That's why I actually have to look at this, the live object model. Whoa. And so really it's best to like have a sense of where the heck live observer is. And so I'll search for observer. And just like there are only a couple references. Notes, ping. When a note list changes, playing position, or this one sends the trigger when trigger status or playing status changes. So this has to do with clips, actually. Live set tracks N, clip slots M. And that way that it's addressing this is actually here. It's using this like path variable to go through like, oh, it's a live set, something in, view selected track. So I have to find, is there like, so what is view, right? There are a lot of references to view. So it represents a series of clip slots in the view matrix. We're not really interested in session view right now. Application view. Let's see. So live app view, main views, names, list of symbols, focus hide is visible. Yep. But yeah, using live set as the root path, we can get information. I'm also interested in like how selections work, because one way that we can address this issue of not being able, let's say, to arm a bunch of things. Like first of all, that could be a preference, right? Where I have like exclusive arm mute in this screen, which is going to be here. So exclusive arm and solo, like that is supposed to work so that when you have one selected, it'll unsolo the other thing, right? And you have to like kind of decide that you want to solo or arm or mute any of the other tracks. If I have a bunch of tracks selected though, what does this object look like? Like, why can I mute it and not solo all of these groups? Because clearly, if I have all of these things selected, I can select all of them and click solo. It's basically the same functionality, except I want to tie it to key binding because I don't want to click over here if I'm working over here on my arrangement. I want to be able to just be like, oh yes, we'll mute that track. Oh, okay, fine. Solo that track. This is important. So let me turn this stuff off and see if that affects my behavior at all. It just isn't unsetting it. And so maybe it's that there isn't any logic for addressing an entire group or something. But I can, at the very least, unmute all of those things. Talking in circles here. But that's basically how you get into it. This is what you do. So let's say I want a device toggle, right? To unlock this thing. And I kind of want to clone this branch. Right? And attach it to the same kind of like event system. Who's that? Sounded like a microphone just went on or something. So this object is still going to pass into there. And this event, instead of it being solo, show me your properties. Let's see. Scripting name, live text 3. I want to edit this text information. Can I do like label? There we go. Text off label. I could just change that to D toggle or whatever. Or something very technical. And then instead of the property for solo, I have to go look at their API reference and figure out what the heck that actually is. So here's a bunch of properties. Observe child list API uses live set tracks 1 setting the property to mute, which changes the mute property, and the second track to reward. Blah, blah, blah. So where are there actually more properties? We can probably find this prop. Oh, interesting. Object and the schedule. So that's basically all those references. API property mute, just how we're making a callback function for that property. I wonder if there is like a property for enable, right? And one way that like a pretty smart API would do it is if in the help view, I could find like activate, right? Or activator. But I don't have like a console view or something that would expose that hook immediately. And so it takes a little bit of doing to figure out like, okay, well, I already have that name set. If I go to my layout mode, and I have like a button with no home, which is fine. I could just put it here. I think there's like a button, there's like a way to distribute these guys vertically. Let's make them all even. And I can save it, I guess. Wow. But I don't want to do that quite yet because I'm not actually addressing. Like, here's whatever my selection is from this, what looks like a list. I'm going to change this object that we're actually going. So for live observer property, instead of solo, maybe like this is like the observer is probably the object that keeps track of our selection or the context of what the application can do next. So like enable is a pretty bog standard term. I would have to look at the scripting API for that. Like, I'm not sure if it's like enable. I don't want to bookmark this. Or activate. So I have deactivated clips in clip slots. They have like device information. All right, so here's the MIDI or audio device. 5 set tracks, parameters, properties, device types is just chord operator, blah, blah, blah. Can have chains, return change, list of chains. And I want to know if there's a property in here, like, what is this? So it's the mute property, chain activator off. Okay. So that means that I have to change the way that we approach this object, right? N devices, M chains, L, these are going to be 3 numbers in order to get kind of subchains back. So let's see, here's our little toggle method. And then I want to set, instead of set solo, I want to set mute, I assume. But also I don't know the name of, like, I don't know what this information looks like. I need to be able to print that out. What does this actually print to? Let's see, look at the reference. Print a message in a Max console. Cool. So how about every time I have a new, oh, there's also this too. This is the path that we're actually going for. Ooh. So maybe I have to defer this a little bit because I don't want this object actually. And I'm not feeding it a proper object. I actually want something like path live set tracks and then whatever. So selected track. Well, view selected track. Devices. Yeah, live set tracks N, devices M, where N and M are two different like identifying numbers. So I'll copy this as well. And I'm going to send... Actually, I should copy this whole thing. Selected device. And now I can send out that information back to the same object. So I have you go to this observer thing. And you are the event. So property enable, oops, I don't want that. So I need to trigger you from a different event. So get out of here. There we go. And now this is going to be the event that actually places that. This integer is going to check a certain position in the state of a selected device. Ideally, anyway, I'll save it and we will see if it does its job. So I'll lock it down. Back in Ableton, I have to close this thing. So here's this button now, detoggle. Like, I guess if I had a device selected, that would be a pretty good way to test it. Oh. And you can change the notes about it, so we can actually change the help. But for now, let's say that I did Shift D. All right, so now that I have a button in live, I can map something to it, you know what I mean? And let's see. I assume that's actually sending information, but is it actually doing something? The answer is no. So, long story short, this is the entry point to really what I want to do. List of device parameters, jeez. Is enabled is the property. Do. Okay. What else can you tell me? Is enabled is the property. One, if it can be modified directly by the user, sending it to the live object by automation or assigned MIDI message or keystroke. So the only other thing that we have to do is make sure we have the right path, live set tracks and devices. So, oh, I have an error. The master track has no solo property. Reasonable. So now let's see what we're dealing with here. So property is enabled. Okay, and then set mute is not going to work anymore. I want to set is enabled because that's the property that we're doing. Is enabled. The only thing that I'm not sure of is what our actual device is. Is it view select the device? That would be the path, right? Live set tracks and devices. I wish I could see an example. And so this is what we do. Device parameters. Automatable parameters. Its value or send its object ID to live remote. And there's this other max object. This is all done in like JavaScript that's hooked into Max. So let's see. Left inlet, right inlet. Okay. Alright, there's changes, perform operation. Oh, this device is the idea. Or maybe this device is this instant. Send the bang. Tell me about yourself. It gives me a message when it is opened, when it is initialized. Thing will respond. Zero will be sent to the middle inlet. So right outlet. Enabled, disabled. Especially using max distance and like the load bang. The middle right out. Correct. Sweet. But tell me something, chat. Tell me about your chat. Alright, so I'll save this and lock it. And if I lock it, I should be allowed to use it, I want to say. Where's my guy? What's up? I'm not even getting a print message back. Am I asking for one? I don't know. I am not. I am responding. Ooh, it's interesting. That is right. But then where is this coming from? Okay. Really killer cones. Okay. On this episode of Watch Me Read. Alright. No. Wow, I'm just saying I should have chose a preset beforehand.
My phone does not charge.
Alright.
Said it's charming, but
Let's do something beautiful.
on your computer or yeah, it's on my computer. Is it like? How did I know? The bugs are out. Do, but I haven't. Try to read it. No, I. There's been issues with a lot of. Wow. Yeah. Yeah, you might as well. Kind of hold the mouth on it a little bit. Probably gonna keep on it. Yeah. I mean, I like my phone. I would say. Got it. Yes. Oh, but. You got your one?
There. Can I make this much bigger? I just want this to take up my whole screen. Anyway, I should have got a clock together. I have just a place to put it. Oh, well. Let's meditate. I keep thinking about buying like a modular synthesizer, and then I realized that I've kind of got one, you know? Like, I know there are LFOs that I can map here, but it's like, why not cross-modulate, you know? And sure, you can do that here too. I can take LFO 1. Oh, that's neat. I didn't know that was an option. Cool. It's like very slight characteristics. It's a little bit better. How's that doing? Time. I don't think you're the kit for me. Let's do it. You are too loud. Chat, you're so peaceful. I appreciate it. That feels good. Good. Silent chat. The sound, not to be confused with whatever. Fear nothing. Is it about that time? Nearly. When does dog tracks even start? 6 to 7? 5 to 6? 7 to 8? Who knows? Kind of got carried away. But I kind of want to like just keep grooving. Like something that's 16. Sure. I can get into here. Make my adjustments. I want to loop you. I want to solo you. And so this is where those moments come in handy. The whole point of this exercise. Alright, so the sound needs help. I guess I can change the way that I trigger that. Show me the chain. Here it is. So it's got a little bit of an echo. I want fast transients. Turn this off. Same with you. Turn it up. Warp you like this. Do this.
Okay.
Ooh, I'm starting to understand. It's very detailed. Good work, though. And for you, the same concept. I actually really like that a lot. I make it like a ramp, and then slow it the heck down, and send that to pitch. I want another LFO. Can I put that before the sky? Like, this is an envelope, wouldn't it be? Right here. Right, so that'll trigger this envelope, and I can send this to the frequency. So when that gets hit, that's cool. And I want the release to be a lot longer. Nice. I'm excited. It needs like a better EQ than that guy. And to that, I have to regurgitate probably my favorite stupid thing I've ever learned from Mr. Bill so far. Shout out to Mr. TMAD for this tip, where you can get the duration at the bottom of the screen. What? It allows you to just punch in, like, it's 265 milliseconds, right? It's like, oh, okay. So here's this guy, and here's my release. And I can just enter 265. And that'll give me a quantized time. What? Oh, wait. I want to make that as low as possible and make that 265. That sounds good. A little bit quick. Now all you need is an anime sample and you're good to go. Anyway, next time I'll make an announcement or something. That's beautiful. Anyway, thanks for being patient with me. All two of you. Get ready for dog tracks. I mean, ADD. Jeez. I'm so tired.